This wildcard draft has everything you want: proven goal scorers, differentials, and lines up perfectly with some fixture runs. I think this is my favourite wildcard team yet. So, let's get into this. This video not only has my favourite wildcard team for game week 12, but also has some amazing FPL picks in this team. So this video is for all of you guys at home, whether you're on a wildcard or whether you're not. And I wish I still had my wildcard chip because this team is immense. If you are brand new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. I make FPL videos to help you guys at home by just clicking that little red button. It does massively support the channel. And make sure you like today's video as well. The like goal is 10 likes. We're going to get right into the team straight away here. I'm going to cover Julian Timber first because we do have a little bit extra news about Gabriel. I said I was going to cover all the latest news as much as I could around Gabriel, around Semenyo, and I'm going to do that just quickly here. And that's the reason that Timber's in the squad instead of a Gabriel here. Now, we have heard from David Ornstein that Gabriel could be out for 1 to 2 months. There are still ongoing tests had on Gabriel to really solidify whether that's going to be the time frame, but that's the initial thoughts at the moment, 1 to 2 months. So it's really not looking great, the news we've got currently about Gabriel. Hopefully the tests they're doing right now kind of find he's okay to play, but we'll have to wait and see on more news with Gabriel, but not good initially. And that's why Timber is in the squad as one of the first names, in all honesty, because I really wanted an Arsenal defender in here. I feel as though the fixtures aren't as good as they have been in the past few weeks, so I've only dealt with just going for one Arsenal defender in here and going a bit cheaper in goal in Verbruggen of Brighton. Now, we've also partnered him with Dubravka, and their fixture sort of interchange is absolutely brilliant. Of course, Brighton have really good fixtures in FPL for the next few weeks, but I think in game week 16 and game week 18, when Verbruggen plays Liverpool away and Arsenal away, Dubravka has two good home fixtures against Fulham and Everton. So the fixture rotation there for the goalkeepers is actually really, really strong. So I think having that cheaper option in Verbruggen and then also massively cheap Dubravka saves a lot of money in the side. But absolutely, if you want a double Arsenal defence, I think probably Raya and Timber's how I would go about it, or maybe even a Saliba. But I do think Timber is maybe slightly better than Saliba as an FPL asset in particular. Senesi, great fixture run coming up for Bournemouth. I think, of course, the DEFCON aspect of the FPL asset of Senesi, 5 million, you can't really go wrong. Of course, a little bit disappointing in the past few weeks with some of the results, but, you know, good fixtures coming up. I would absolutely back him at 5 million. Richards, a cheaper option, but still a great Palace player in my eyes. DEFCONs are really great. I don't think as attacking as maybe a Gahey, but I don't think it matters too much in terms of when you come to the price of Chris Richards. Very cheap asset, good fixtures coming up. I don't think there's any issues in Chris Richards as a pick. I really do like him at that price point. You got Mukele there as sort of a 4.2 cheap option on the bench. Fixtures aren't great coming up, but I feel as though DEFCONs and sort of his presence in that Sunderland team is absolutely massive. So having him on the bench isn't a bad shout in my eyes. And then with a bit of extra money here, I've actually chosen to go O'Reilly on the bench of Manchester City. Their left back, who's been doing unbelievable in the past few games, and of course has been getting quite a lot of minutes at left back for Manchester City. And I think, of course, when Ain't Nori goes to AFCON, those minutes will continue to be pretty good. But for the next few weeks, rotation could happen with Nico O'Reilly. So he is on the bench for this fixture anyway, with it being Newcastle away. But when it gets to sort of Leeds next week and the good fixtures to come, I think O'Reilly could be a really strong asset. But there is a little bit of rotation risk with that pick in particular. But let's move up now to the midfielders. Across the midfield, we have Cunha, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Foden and Minte. And we're going to kick things off here with the Night Manager's approved pick in Matheus Cunha. Now, from reports, we have heard that Sesko could be out for a month or more, which of course should mean that Matheus Cunha could play up front for Manchester United, which will be amazing for FPL. Of course, he is a Night Manager's approved pick. If you're not too sure who Night Managers are, they are the best performing FPL algorithm in the entire game. Over the last 2 seasons, I believe their average rank is 14k in the world. Just absolutely insane. They're so good. Honestly, I used them at the end of last season. My rank absolutely shot up. I was so impressed with them. I had to get the partnership with them this season for you guys. So if you use code FPLMOGS with the link in the description, you're going to get 2 free weeks of Night Manager services. Definitely go check that out with the link in the description using code FPLMOGS. Of course, we're going alongside Matheus Cunha next with Bruno Fernandes, another Manchester United pick. And I kind of wanted to group them together here because the fixtures for Manchester United look really great for an extended period of time here. So having sort of 2 in the midfield, yes, it seems a bit odd, but I do think both of them, with the great fixtures coming up, could be fantastic options. I really love Bruno Fernandes as an FPL option. You guys know that from my previous videos. Of course, back-to-back 5-pointers in FPL in recent weeks. Everton at home this week feels like a decent fixture. I just feel like you can come away with absolutely anything in FPL at the moment. I'm super pleased to own him in my personal team, and I have included him on this wildcard draft. Semenyo is another one where I said I would include injury news about him in today's video. And we're going to try cover it a little bit here because the injury itself that we heard was sort of a sprain to the ligament from the shin bone to the ankle. Now, this was initially pushed out on articles and posts, and you know it doesn't look good. Withdrawn from international camp, the injury's there. But then a story came about it just being an anniversary or it being a proposal opportunity for him and his fiancée, and I just honestly don't know at this point what's going on with Semenyo. I've seen the pictures of the proposal. I've seen the Instagram post from his missus because that's been floating around FPL Twitter. So yeah, it seems like he's okay. It really does. But maybe he proposed with that injury. Who knows? Who knows? But at the moment, it does seem like he's okay. So he's included within this side. Obviously, similar to Senesi, playing for Bournemouth. The fixtures coming up look really great. Of course, Semenyo's data isn't too bad either. You've got Phil Foden here. Now, a lot of people will look at him and go, oh my God, City minutes risk, Pep Roulette. Actually, he's had the second most minutes from any Manchester City midfielder in the entire game. From game week 3, he's pretty much had 90 minutes every single game, bar one game against Arsenal, where he came off in the 67th minute. And of course, against Arsenal, maybe some tactical changes were needed. But playing 90 minutes from game week 3 till now, it seems he's a 90-minute player. Like, have I missed this? Have I not been aware that this has been happening? Of course, the returns haven't been mega for those who own Phil Foden, but going now into a good fixture run after Newcastle away, he could be a pretty under-the-radar pick that not many people are aware that he's getting 90 minutes pretty much every single week here. Like, I think over the last few weeks, the only week where he hasn't had 90 minutes, he's had 89 minutes. Like, these minutes are fantastic for Foden. We've not really seen this before. Well, for a while for Phil Foden, actually, with some injuries he's had, some personal issues he's had, but it seems Pep is absolutely loving playing him every single week, and I think that could continue. And going into a great fixture run, I think Foden's a really interesting pick here. You've got Minte, who's in my personal FPL team as well. I just think the fixtures coming up look great. I think the data itself isn't too bad. Cheap option, 6 million. I really don't mind Brighton players in FPL, and I think Minte, Welbeck for Bruggen, Van Heck are probably my favourite Brighton players in FPL right now. But let's move up now to the forward line. Now, of course, the forward line is a bit more template than the rest of the side, but I do think these picks pretty much speak for themselves. Mateta, brilliant data, great fixtures coming up. it seems like he's ready to really go tear things up in the Premier League, and I'm excited to own him in my personal FPL team from last week. And I do think on a wildcard, I would include him from game week 12 onwards. I do think I would captain him this week. In all honesty, I am on my personal FPL team at the moment. I think Wolves away is a pretty strong fixture. The only downside, I think, to the pick of captaining Jean-Philippe Mateta this week was Rob Edwards has been appointed as the Wolves manager. Is there going to be a new manager bounce there? Will it be a more difficult game than we initially thought? Perhaps, but I do think he's still a strong captaincy option this week for game week 12. And that kind of brings me to the conversation about Haaland here, in the sense that Newcastle away, it's pretty difficult, isn't it? It really is. So it doesn't feel great captaining Erling Haaland against Newcastle, especially away from home. But Newcastle actually, they haven't been groundbreaking at the moment. They've been really poor in recent weeks, especially in the Premier League. So maybe the captaincy does fall back on Erling Haaland this week. But those are the two starting strikers. And then we've kind of went for a dead spot on the bench here in Mark Yu of Chelsea. Now, if you do have a little bit more money in terms of squad value in FPL, absolutely change Mark Yu to Thiago of Brentford. I think that's a brilliant move, and I've had a tinker around with it on my FPL planning tools when I've been making this team over the past few days. It's a great little transfer you can make if you have that extra money, but I wanted to make this team as inclusive as possible for you guys at home here. And I think another little addition in terms of money improvements that I would kind of suggest in this squad. You've got Richards, maybe to Lacroix. You've got Verbruggen, perhaps to a David Raya. Wouldn't be a bad move in my eyes. And potentially moving O'Reilly up or Senesi up to a Virgil van Dijk doesn't seem a bad move either. So if you do have extra money, those were some of the substitutes I would probably make. But the first one I would most likely make is actually Mark Yu to Thiago, especially when he has Burnley next week. But let me know in the comments what you think of this wildcard team. If I still had the chip, this is absolutely what I'll be lining up with. I absolutely love this team. I really wish I had that wildcard still, but let me know what you think in the comments. Tomorrow you can expect my team selection video for game week 12, and it's going to be an interesting one with the amount of flags in my squad and my chip strategy completely changed. So make sure you're looking out for that one. Of course, a massive thank you for your support on today's video and the channel. If you did enjoy the video today, go ahead and drop a like. And if you're not yet subscribed, go subscribe for future FPL content and FPL streams. Well, that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.